What's up, y'all? Thanks for stopping by the Surge T channel. I am Surge T, and the last time a live audience was seen at a pay per view was at Wrestlemania, and here we are after an amazing SmackDown with 14,000 plus in attendance. We have Money in the Bank 2021. I didn't catch or hear what the attendance was, but maybe it was around 20,000 or more, maybe around that. That's kind of the average of before, right? When they used to do their pay per views in front of a live audience, in front of the WWE Universe. And I enjoyed this pay per view very much. I think it's one of their best pay per views. It was short and concise, and not short meaning it was only like an hour or so. It was about three, maybe almost 4 hours, right? But it went by very smoothly. It wasn't boring. It wasn't. There was no lull in there. There was no, you know, there wasn't like a moment like you're going, huh, kind of, or come on, get it over with. Moments like that. It was very well done, well produced, well booked. And they just really got into the heart of the matter when it came to matches. There wasn't any kind of filler matches. There wasn't any nonsense. Every match meant something. And we're gonna get into it in my video. So let's go to the kickoff show. And for once, Jr. Not Jr. Excuse me, not Jr. King, Booker T, Caleb, Caleb Braxton. Yeah, okay. Uh, JBL and what's that guy? Rosenberg, right? They weren't annoying. They actually were entertaining. Taking jabs at Rosenberg because they just like to, and who doesn't like that when they do that? Especially the King. And during the kickoff show, they of course went over everything, the things that led up to the matches you're going to see later on. And in the end, they had a kickoff show match, which was for the SmackDown Tag Team titles, and that was between the Mysterios, the champs, and the Usos. And it was a very, very good match. A lot of history behind it. Family versus family. They've been involved. The Mysterios have with the Usos and Roman Reigns. And it came to a head in this match. And in the end, we saw the Usos win the gold with a little underhanded tactics. We see a roll up by Jimmy on Rey Mysterio. And you see Jay put his foot against his brother for extra leverage. And to quote Michael Cole, the Usos steal one tonight. So they bring gold to the bloodline, making them strong, making them all draped in gold. But of course, Roman Reigns still has to defend his title and successfully retain it for them to maintain their grasp on all the gold. Now, the main show. Yeah, the women's Money in the Bank ladder match. We saw. In the end, we saw the winner was Liv Morgan. Oh no. Well, that's who was my pick, but no, it was Nikki, almost a superhero, ASH. I guess they're not saying ASH because to compensate for the fact that Byron Saxton can't say Ash without saying ass. He can't say H's like I said in my previous videos. But it's funny because the match was very, very, very well done. I loved it. I had a lot of fun. It was great seeing these ladies trying to get their moves in, trying to get their selves on that ladder. Trying to climb up. Natalia was cut like the MVP, where she kept pretty much pulling everybody off the ladder, looking around, making sure nobody was getting to the ladder. Her and Tamina, tag team champions, were to get each other. They were working like a team. And then what happens is that there's three ladders, under the briefcase, and then every one of these ladies are going up there, and they're duking it out, right? Alexa Bliss is out. She's underneath all these ladders that the ladies all, you know, put on top of her to keep her down because she was doing that magic stuff, and she made Zelina Vega go down after they were both on the ladders, and she made her walk down, which again is silly because this isn't the 80s where stuff like that, like with Papa Shango and all those guys, can control you, make you do things, you know what I mean? But whatever, that's her character. And then while the other ladies, were battling out. Here comes Nikki Ash. She's goes right up in the middle ladder while everybody's too busy trying to knock the other one off, and she just pulls it down. And Nikki is Miss Money in the Bank for 2021, and I am very excited and happy for that because she's definitely one of my favorites. I've loved her since her time in NXT. Yeah, I remember that last woman standing match with Asuka. She challenged her for the title. And the thing about it though is Asuka, all she did to retain the title is that she just rolled off of the what do you call that, the pallet, and then she just landed on her feet. She rolled off, stood on her feet, and then that's how she beat Nikki. Because I thought Nikki was going. She was close. She was probably one of the closest ones to ever defeat Asuka when she was on that amazing win streak, that undefeated streak. But she is the champion, the Money in the Bank champion, I should say. And let's see if she doesn't become the first one to unsuccessfully to cash in, because so far all the women have cashed in and they've become champions. So I hope they don't do that with her. I mean, for some reason they're now giving her the ball now, and now her destiny is now in her hands. She has a briefcase, so let's see what happens. Liv Morgan was very, very by herself. Everybody was, but she was more because she was so determined. Interviewed at the kickoff show, so determined to be like, I want to win it and stuff like that. Maybe I was thinking in my head, while I was driving home from work, I'm thinking, is she gonna try to maybe challenge Nikki Cross and get her to be like, But I don't know. Because isn't she on? Well, she's gonna do that because she's on SmackDown, Liv Morgan, right? So it wouldn't work, would it? I was thinking she'll do that, or maybe somebody else will on Raw. Maybe somebody will do that to Nikki, and maybe that's how she'll like lose it, like Otis did, and whoever the other one is that wins will be the one. You know what I mean? I don't know. Hope it doesn't go that way, but we'll see what happens with Nikki Cross now that she is Miss Money in the Bank, and let's see how she, does it. How she goes about cashing in. Then we had the Raw Tag Team Champions, Omos and AJ Styles. Very, very dominant champions thus far. And the titles are on the line against the Viking Raiders, who challenged them. And in the end, well, they started trying to overpower Omos. Omos was really giving it to the challengers, but we all know that the Viking Raiders are not to be messed with. They're definitely a powerful team, a very, very dominating team. They've been tag team champions before in NXT and on Raw, and wherever they've been. They even mentioned it. They said, "Hey, these guys have been champions all over the world," and they have been. And they did what they could, but in the end, a choke bomb by Omos, and he gets the pin and for his team with AJ, and the champs retain. Who knows what happens? Who's going to challenge them? This is a very formidable team in the Viking Raiders, and even they were no match for AJ and Omos, or should I say for Omos, because Omos is the muscle. He's the insurance policy kind of thing. He's the guy who makes sure that the titles are where they are, and maybe we're going to be seeing them at maybe at SummerSlam probably drop it. That's a big stage, and whomever comes along, it's got to be a dominant team. It's got to be someone who's got the buzz behind them, and we'll see what happens. But congratulations to Omos and AJ Styles, and they still are champs, and they retain. Now the WWE Championship, a very, very odd placing for that match. If they don't open it, they should. It doesn't main event, and it should open because it will kind of set the precedent. Because this match was, shouldn't I say squash? But it wasn't as fast as Brock. When Brock challenged Kofi, it wasn't that quick of a damn squash. That was like 13 seconds or something like that. This match went a little bit longer, but I still consider it a squash. And I think I read one of the headlines of one of the articles that I came across, and it said that a squash match is Vince McMahon plans a squash match for Money in the Bank. I guess this is what it was, because we see 3 dominators from Lashley. We see the Hurt Lock submission, and Kofi taps, and Lashley retains his belt. I'm telling you, Lashley is money. Lashley is so far, you know, you know, what's the word? But he was just like from what he was before when he first came back to now. And then of course we know that this past Raw, he got rid of the ladies, he got rid of the BS, he said, enough of this bullshit. We gotta, it's business, back to business, none of this crap. And he was dominating, man. He just, you know, Kofi's entertaining. Kofi is definitely a future Hall of Famer. He's won every belt that you can, you know. And I'm like, what the hell happened with him? You know what I mean? Like he didn't even give a fight. He started off fighting off Lashley, but after that, when Lashley pretty much, and he had to be reminded, like you hear MVP going, giving him little things in his head, like, hey man, just like this, and he's shouting at him, and he just went into another gear in this match, and he did say that he was going to tear him apart on Raw. He said he was going to tear him apart at Money in the Bank, and he did, and he just dominated him, and I don't know what else to say. Lashley, man, especially when he played that thing back when he was talking to Lashley after they dismissed the ladies, Burner in the Ring during the MVP, during the VIP lounge, right? And when I listened to what he was saying back again, it gave me chills. The good ones, where it's just like it just makes the hair on your arm stand up. It makes you like just get all like this. Oh my God, man, it's so powerful the way he what he said, and it totally hit. You know, it totally hit me. I'm just like going, damn, man, like he's serious. And the guy used to be pretty bad at doing promos, Bobby Lashley, but someone's been working with him, or he's probably been working out hard himself to be able to put up a good promo, because he can really cut a promo really well. He's better than most, and he's up there with the best. And congratulations to him, and he did his thing. And you know, there have been rumors that Brock Lesnar may be returning, and he did say, I've said this in past videos, that the only way he'll come back is in front of a crowd. And now we know the situation with the with the Universal title, and I'll get to that. But here, there's no clear-cut challenger for Lashley. Will Brock Lesnar come on, and will he, you know what I mean? Will he be the one to step up? You hear that? You're gonna hear that music that we all know how, what do you call it? How his music starts. We hear the, you know. So we're gonna hear that, and then here comes Bobby Lashley. But then we're talking about Goldberg. Please, please no. Hope Goldberg does for Lashley what he did for Drew McIntyre and put him over. He doesn't need to be the champion. He doesn't need to win the title. Bring on Bobby Lashley. I mean Brock Lashley. Bring on Brock Lesnar. Now, the Raw Women's Championship, a very good match, and we see one instance, man, it really was amazing power on Rhea Ripley. She has Charlotte. She's like cradled, and she has both her hands, and then she just lifts her up like deadlift, and then she picks her up, and then makes her like do that thing where she's up in the damn delayed suplex position from the ground up, and she looked like she was struggling, but then she just kept pulling Charlotte up until she was fully extended, and then she just dropped her. Shades of like the British Bulldog. And speaking of the British Bulldog, his son Davey Boy Smith Jr. he was on a dark match on SmackDown, but it's so great to see him back, man. And they're talking about the plans were during the pandemic that he was going to go to NXT UK. My God, him and Walter, holy, you know what I mean? That would be something for the NXT UK title. But it's great to see that he's back, and so that's what that was just amazing that much. And then they're getting into it. Charlotte is then taking a number of chops from Rhea Ripley. You see at the end of the match, she's all just bruised and red, But Charlotte, that's somebody who you don't go chop for chop, Cause she came back and she just hits those chops the way her dad does. Just a way that she does it, where it just snaps and pops and it's just loud. You know, because some people like to open palm, some like to do it from the thing, some do it from the side of their hand, and it's always like one of those things where it's like, what is the best way to deliver a chop? You know, and I think Charlotte and her dad got that sewn up. You know, I'm sure, I don't know if they give classes, but if you're gonna learn how to do a chop, learn it from them. But we see Rhea during the match. She does a riptide attempt. You're thinking she's got her, you know, but then Charlotte reverses it into a DDT, and that wasn't enough for the 1, 2, 3. You know, people were thinking, people in the crowd were up, and they're thinking that she was gonna get it. No, and then natural selection from the top rope. Rhea was trying to hit a suplex, a superplex, but then we see Charlotte hit a natural selection from that vantage point from up there. Holy crap, you know! And then she still didn't get a 3. No 1, 2, 3. She still wasn't able to get her. And then the daughter of the dirtiest player of the game traps Rhea's knee into the steps. Was still up against the ring post, so she was right in there, and she just keeps delivering kicks after kick after kick. Rhea's able to wriggle out, and she's in the ring, and she is in pain and grasping at her knee. And of course, Charlotte Flair, it's like a shark to water, you know. She goes right in there, gets her leg, and she puts on the figure 4, and then she transitions into the figure 8. That's all she wrote. Rhea fought it off. She really did, but it wasn't enough, and she ends up tapping. This is the first time that I'm glad that she won the title. I'm happy for her. I don't know why, because sometimes I always talk about in a lot of my videos. If anybody ever wants to go back and watch any of my videos, I always say I'm tired of her always being the champion. But this is the one time, when she was Divas champion, then when she became the champion at WrestleMania, when they first made the world title. Even though I was pulling for Sasha, I go, okay, it's good. It's good to put it on, Charlotte at this time. This is the one of the rare times that I'm like going, yeah, she deserved it, and the crowd popped for her. I think that the crowd was a little bit more behind her than Rhea, even though there's definitely people that are popping for her. But when Charlotte, she flips up off the crowd, like the screen went blank. I go, what's going on? And then when it came back on, Charlotte's like with the middle finger out, like. I don't know if she said the F word or something. Maybe I don't know, but we saw the middle finger. And then I guess she won the crowd over, because then in the end they popped for her when she became the new champion. And Nikki didn't come out, so Nikki's gonna hold on to the Money in the Bank briefcase. She's on Raw, so I gotta say, Charlotte better be careful, because you might have almost a superhero on your tail. But congratulations to Charlotte. And she is like what now, the 14-time champion now? Technically 13, because singles. When they say 13-time before this, they included the tag team titles. But whatever. WWE's going to do what they do, to kind of pump up her numbers. But congratulations to her, and for once I'm happy for Charlotte Flair. Now the men's Money in the Bank. Very, very physical. KO all over the place. Hitting stunners, every one that wonders that, and then you have Riddle hitting RKO's. The one thing that I love is for someone else, was that Ricochet was standing on, I forgot who it was, but standing on the ladder, he sweeps his leg and then grabs him, and he gets him into the RKO. And we've seen Randy Orton do that typical. He did that, doing that typical, but doing that, that way of hitting the RKO. And even McIntyre, at one point, he was ambushed by Shanky and Veer, Jinder Mahal's muscle, or his lackeys, if you will. And even Jinder Mahal finally comes out after Drew's being attacked by them, and he comes out and he blasts Drew a number of times with a steel chair. He goes, "Come on," pretty much like drag him out, and then Shanky and Veer have Drew McIntyre in their grasp, and they're dragging him off backstage. So I don't know what the hell they're gonna do with him, but they're continuing with that feud, and I think that's great. Yes, Drew needs to be away from the title for a bit. work it off. Work up something with Jinder. Make Jinder look good too. I think they'll make each other look good because I'm a fan of Jinder. A lot of people didn't like him as a WWE champion. I had no problem, but he worked with what he had. You know what I mean? Like, and I think a lot of people were kind of a little bit unfair to him. But at the same time, now it's like they're starting to put Jinder Mahal now in the limelight, in the spotlight, if you will, and he's going to be in a major feud with Drew McIntyre. That's going to be cool. That's only going to be doing good. It's only going to do good for his, for his career. And let's see how it goes and how far they're going to take it. Are they going to put the title in the picture in the sense that maybe Drew is going to win it, and then it'll be those two? We'll see. But Big E, he was my choice. And after hitting the big ending on Rollins from atop the ladder, a very sick spot. I loved it. Holy crap. The crowd was like, oh, like that, because they knew it was coming. It was just a matter of time, and he hits it, and then Big E, was able to reach the top of the ladder. It was a long ass ladder, man. It was one of the tallest ones they had. Because there was another one, and then like when guys would get to the top, they were like this to the ladder, and they couldn't reach it. I think Drew was the one that put that one up, but earlier. But he does that, and then he retrieves the Money in the Bank briefcase, and Big E is your new Money in the Bank, Mr. Money in the Bank. And let's see what happens. I was happy with both Money in the Bank winners. I didn't pick Nikki, but I was happy because she would have been my choice if I had not picked for Liv Morgan. And I think Liv's gonna still be in there in that picture. She's gonna, probably get her shot sometime down the road because they're building her up, and I hope they don't forget about her like they did before, and not saddle her with a tag team partner or something. Because that's what unfortunate thing happened when Ruby and her, came together, and then Ruby and the Riot Squad, he went after the tag team titles a couple times, and it just didn't work, And I'm glad that she's a solo now and she's a singles competitor. Let's see what happens. Now the Universal Championship. But before that, in the backstage segment, a poor sport, a man full of sour grapes and complaining, and that is Seth Rollins, and he proclaims himself the next contender to whomever is the Universal Champion at the end of the night. And now let's get to some statistics. August 30th, 2020, Reigns' 322-day championship reign started. And with Edge, after a decade, we all know his story. He's only back, and he returned only for one thing, and that is to be champion. And we all know he had to relinquish the title. He had to surrender the title because of his injury. But now he's back, looking better than ever, best shape of his career. And I'm telling you, these two left it all out there. I don't think they could have left anything more in this match. Leaving it in the ring. Now after the bell sounds, okay, the crowd starts there. Let's go Roman, let's go Edge, back and forth. You see both Edge and Roman Reigns look in opposite directions really slowly. It reminded me of The Rock and Hogan when Hogan became a babyface again because he was the leader of the NWO again, and he was the heel. And it's funny because Edge's hero growing up, of course, was Hulk Hogan, and then of course Roman Reigns, he's related to The Rock. So it's almost like they kind of represented their family member or their idol in that ring. And I'm like going, and it was a pretty cool thing. Honestly, you got Roman supporters, and we got Edge supporters. It was kind of even Steven, if you will. Now, this match was very physical. We know what to expect from Edge and Roman Reigns. It's just going to be a barn burner, a slobber knocker, as the great JR would say. You know what I mean? Holy crap. We saw the steel chairs get introduced, breaking off the thing to do that thing again. Edge did that to Roman, getting that same pained, scared look again in his face. And then we see one spot where Roman spears the barricade because Edge gets out of the way. And then what's left of the barricade, well, Edge says, you know what? I'm going to give the WWE Universe what they want. And he spears Roman through the barricade. That wasn't enough to keep Roman down. And then Seth comes in and he pays dividends for Roman. He's not actually helping him out, but he first attacks Edge by kicking him back in the head as Edge has the lower pole or the lower thing of the chair in his mouth, in Roman Reigns' mouth, and he's pulling back, you know, and that that makes where he lets go of his grasp on that, and that's not enough to take Edge out. Edge does hit the spear as Roman tries to attempt his spear, and that's not. It wasn't enough. The referee was out. He was knocked out. Another referee comes in, and then the referee counts 1, 2. That's it. Now Seth again goes up on the apron. It distracts Edge, and then Roman's able to hit him with a 6 spear. Probably one of the best spears he's delivered, and he gets the 1, 2, 3. Now we then see a stare down between Rollins and Reigns, but then Edge attacks Reigns. I mean, attacks Rollins, and it spills out into the crowd. We never see them for the rest of the evening. And then Roman Reigns gets a mic and he says in a very lower toned voice, very exasperated, what do you want to call it? Expired, all his energy and everything. It's real gravelly, his voice, but he's able to say, "Now the whole world can acknowledge me." And then we hear the familiar music hit, and that is the music of John Cena. "It's been too long," says Cena, and he says to somebody, says someone's name. He says, "It's time to go to work." Hits the ring. It's normally how you see Cena. He slides under the bottom rope, gets up, and then he starts doing his whole, stuff like signature bouncing off the ropes, going all over the place, just hyping up the crowd and getting into the crowd and everything like that. And then he goes like this to Roman Reigns, and then he goes, puts his hands up, and then, that in part when he always hits that part when he always puts his hands up, right? And then he basically goes on the top, stands on the second turnbuckle, and he's just acknowledging the crowd, looking at Roman, and it fades to black. John Cena saying it's time to go to work, so that means he's back after his the movie that he was in with Vin Diesel and company, Fast 9, #1, making millions and millions of dollars at the box office. So he's back now. The thing, and it's gonna be him and Roman. Hopefully they don't make him. You have time until the Royal Rumble, so Cena's gonna build up his wins and losses, or say I guess wins. It should be wins, not losses. In the ring, maybe he's gonna compete on SmackDown. We'll see. There was rumors that he was gonna appear soon, but I think they said Raw. I don't think they said SmackDown, but they may have said SmackDown. I think so because there's so many other people that are saying they're gonna be coming back. So, but to me, it's great to have Cena back. Even though he's been in the company for 20 some years, since 2020, 2002. So it's great to have him back because it's a fresh face, even though we know who he is and we've seen him so many times before. But it's been a while, and so now he's gonna look like he's gonna be targeting the championship, the Universal title. That's the only title I know that he doesn't have. He's never had that title. He's had WWE title, the World Heavyweight Championship, and all the other titles he's held. So see what happens with that. But I'm telling you, it ended on a really great note. It's great to have Cena back, and after it faded to black and Money in the Bank, came to a close, I'm just thinking about everything that is going to be happening now. They did a really good job, WWE, but I hope they don't fall into complacency and say, we did good. We were able to, you know, appease the audience in the WWE universe. Okay, now we're gonna get lazy again, and we're gonna just say, okay, well, I don't want to push this guy, even though we've been pushing him for a couple of months now. Or we're gonna do this, or we're gonna break up a tag team. So hopefully, you don't do that. But we'll see. We'll see. But it was a great pay-per-view, one of the best pay-per-views they've had this year, and I'm glad that the crowd is back. But I hope, that every pay-per-view from now on, there's going to be some great effort put into it, and it's going to be just like this, because I enjoyed Money in the Bank. But anyway, that's my video for Money in the Bank 2021. my rundown or recap and thoughts. And so for those of you who stopped by, checked it out, appreciate it. And in closing, as always, take care.